What's up, everybody? I was making music with my buddy Rhymetry the other day. Um, Super badass producer. Definitely check out his music. But we came across this sample, right? And it's hard pan. Like it's like two samples hard pan. Take a listen. Right. There's definitely some problems, and I wanted to fix them. Right? I wanted it to be a centered sound. I didn't want this hard panned thing where it's like this hissy stuff on the right and this low bassiness on the left. It didn't really make sense to me from a mixing standpoint. Now, the way some people might be like is they might be like, oh, well, just narrow it down to mono and now it's centered. Right, and that's fine. And maybe someone from there might do like a Haas effect to add widening. Right, so if you don't know what a Haas effect is, really, really fast, it's when you take a mono sound and you delay one of the channels, right? And what you'll notice is it seems like it's tilted right, doesn't it? Right, and yeah, like I've exaggerated the delay here, but it's because the right channel is meeting you first and the left channel has been delayed. So it's going to sound like it's a little bit tilted to the right because the right's hitting you first, so it's closer. You can still get some width if you don't do it as much and it doesn't seem as tilted, but it's still kind of problematic. Right, so there's another way. And you can do this with mono sounds, and you can also do it with sounds that are like this, where it's actually a stereo sound, but you're trying to recenter it. So what you're going to do is you're going to build this rack. You can do it in any DAW. You don't have to do it in Ableton just because I'm doing it in Ableton. But you want to have some way to split the component into the mid channel. The mid channel is left plus right. I'm going to talk about the mid-side matrix in just a second. But so we're going to have the mid channel. We're going to have the side channel. So this is going to do nothing. This is going to add back up to just our original stereo signal. But what the side channel is it's left minus right and then right minus left. So you could see if we added this channel to this channel, well, on the left channel, the rights would cancel out, and on the right channel, the lefts would cancel out because we have negative left plus left, right? And we'd end up with left on our left channel and right on our right channel, or 2 times left and 2 times right. So if you know anything about when you hard pan stuff, there's like a 3 decibel offset kind of situation. So it's like correcting for that, basically. That's why it's 2L and 2R. But what I want you to see now is what happens if I actually delay the side channel. So Dan Worrell did a video on this. I've been doing this technique before he released that video, and I'm going to show you some things that he didn't show you. But basically, this is the mid-side Haas kind of situation. So now if we delay the side signal, whew, hard pan, centered, right? We can adjust this. We can put this on the mid channel. Actually, it sounds kind of bigger when you put it on the mid channel. In a certain way. I mean, it just depends. But the way I like to think about it is, say you have a sound source, right? And you push back the middle, and now the sides are hitting you first. But then the middle, that's like less natural compared to if you delay the side signal. You normally think like most sounds are actually mono, right? There's a sound coming from one place, and then it becomes stereo as it like reflects in the environment, and you get your first reflections and everything. But the sound that's going straight from the source right to you is taking a beeline right towards you. And then any other sounds that are coming from the reflections are going to take longer to get to you because they've not taken a direct path. So by delaying the side signal, that's kind of what you see in nature. Whereas if you delay the mono signal, it's almost like an amphitheater or something where it's like the middle's far away from you, the sides are kind of closer. And so it's almost like the sound is coming from multiple places at once. So that's kind of how I think about it. You can draw your own conclusions. But what you've seen is we've clearly got a centered signal, and it's not just centered, it's super, super wide. Right. So you can see this rack. This is just a mid-side rack and some other things. I have it in my videos, but this is the mid signal. This is the side signal. They're basically identical, which is awesome. It's symmetrical because the mono signal is hitting you and the side signals, and both the mono signal and side signals are always symmetrical. You can see here, left plus right, that's for both channels. So it's mono's obviously symmetrical. Most people don't realize the side is symmetrical as well. It's left minus right, and it's right minus left. And it's only when they interact that you get the hard panning. But we are decoupling those waves by delaying them, so they're no longer interacting in such a way as to do that. So I'm going to throw this over to operator. So we've shown you one application of this technique, which is recentering hard pan sounds, right? Whether they're like, you hard pan them or they just have a lot of stereo difference, whether it's from phasers and effects or other things, or if it's because someone constructed the sample with hard panning like this, or the recording came out that way. You can recenter your sounds, get them to be super, super wide, as opposed to just taking a mono copy and say trying to reintroduce width, right? Because you're also losing stuff there, right? If we just take the mono copy here, we're going to actually lose some information along the way. When we just delay the side signal, we're not actually losing information. We're just displacing it so that it's no longer hard canceling out, and it gets distributed across the stereo field symmetrically. So it's a much more lossless and symmetrical way to deal with that. Now, if we do, I'm going to take this sound, I'm going to hard pan this really quick so you can see the other application. So this would be the other way you could use mid-side Haas, is if you do have a completely mono sound, you can still do this mid-side Haas effect. Right. Let's pull this down. That's super loud. Right, and we kind of have to calibrate the delay time, because in certain it's still going to phase cancel. This is a sine wave, so it's like a perfect situation. But there are going to be parts where it will rephase cancel and kind of lean left or right to one extent or another. But we've now recentered this sound. Let's listen to the mono signal. Where am I? I probably have both up. Yeah, that we were just listening to the mono signal for a second. Right. Here, we'll do it here so you can see. And then side signal. Right, just side signal. So again, they're basically identical. So we've got this super wide sound. It's no longer tilted so much. And so that would be another way to do this mid-side Haas, is when you take a mono sound, you hard pan it, and then you delay the sides. And then that will give you a symmetrical Haas effect, as opposed to when you do the regular Haas effect, it ends up being tilted towards the direction that was not delayed. So let's take this up a step. So if we don't have this rack on, I'm doing all this kind of FM kind of stuff right now to this side. We could throw on some effects, like say we want to throw on like an erosion or something onto this side. Okay, just for the sake of it. Put some white noise. Right, but we've only got a sine on the right-hand side, and we've got all this stuff going on the left-hand side. Right? We could put like an auto pan, for instance, on this. Doesn't really matter. We can put anything you want. Right. Once we turn this on, right, it's recentered, right? And it's not only recentered. Here's the wide signal. And here's the mono signal. Here's it together. It's super wide, right? So you usually only want your side signal to be like 6 decibels quieter than your mono signal. So you'll notice if we play like this song, this is the mono, this is the side. The loudest thing in the side by far was this rack that we had made. Or sorry, this sound that we had made before, or that had been here before. This is like a super, super wide sound too, right? Completely hard panned. The other thing that's super loud is this. Even when we bring the volume way down. Now check in the mono. It's not. Now it's like kind of more in balance with the rest of the stuff going on, whereas in the side signal it was like the dominant sound. Right, because generally the side signal is quieter. So, and then this technique, the side signal and the mono signal is just as loud as each other. So what I do typically, unless I want like a super massive wide sound, like that's really, really dominant because it's like the widest thing on earth, then I would not do this. But usually I bring this down about to like 60% or something to get it back in balance. Right, and so now it's roughly in balance on its mids to side. This is down at minus 33%. I haven't mixed this song, so I'll probably get this song a little bit wider on average as we go on. So 33, 40%, that's like kind of a little bit low. But yeah, so that's the technique. It's really, really useful. You can use it with anything that is not symmetric, and it will make it symmetric again. If you are trying to maintain like some swirly left to right phasery thing, it's not the technique for you. It will destroy that, but at that point you already have some width and such. But if you want to make really, really like vicious wide bass sounds, this is tech for you. If you want to make symmetrical width, transparent symmetrical width out of mono sounds, this is the technique for you. If you have weird samples that are all like hard pan and stuff, this is the technique for you. All right, I love you guys very much. I'm just trying to keep this short. I've got a bunch more videos on the way for you. Anyways, I love you. Missing Lynx out. Peace.